Have you ever made a map yourself of where you live and how you relate with the world around you? Well, I hadn't done that until a few years ago when I was going through my training to be a forest bathing guide. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that today in terms of how it can help us create and build relationship with what I call our ordinary nature sanctuary. That is an ordinary place outside where we can reconnect with the world around us and the more than human world. And in doing so, also start to kind of experience ourselves and our full sensory vitality. So, I'm going to show you a little example, and it doesn't mean that you have to copy it. In fact, quite the opposite. It's just to give you a sense of it can just be simple pencil, crayon, paper. I'm not an artist. And so for me, when I was first doing this several years ago, there was a little bit of a sense of like, oh gosh, how am I going to do this? Like overthinking it, not really sure, if it was going to look like anything. And so I really want to emphasize that when we make our own map of where we live with the surrounding world, this is really about the process. It's for your own eyes, and it's just to sort of re-meet where we live. In forest bathing, we're trying to re-meet where we live through all of our senses. And so creating our own map is a deepening of that. It is a chance to be playful and exploratory and to just kind of look again at where we think we know we are. And oftentimes you're going to discover things that maybe were overlooked. So a first step would be, and I talked about this in earlier videos, what is what I'll call your nature home? And that doesn't have to be some kind of pristine place in the wilderness, but we want to have a place that in most times of our daily life, we can feel some sort of home base, what we call sit spot, with our natural world and with ourselves as part of the natural world. And for you, it might be like me, a yard. It might be a park that you live by. It might be something small, like a little landscaped corner or garden in your neighborhood next to a sidewalk if you're in an urban environment. And so once you kind of have your spot in mind, just take a few times over the next week where you're kind of loosely holding this idea that you're going to make a map of it. Maybe you have your pencil and paper with you. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're going to take some photos if you have to kind of go to it and then make your map later. Um, Hopefully, you can bring a little sketchbook or piece of paper with you and do it at the spot because that tends to be the easiest. And as you get there, as we always do with forest bathing and being with our special nature place, is we open with gentle curiosity through all of our senses and we just kind of arrive. And we give ourselves a few, unrushed minutes to slow down, to notice. Notice, oh yeah, like what's going on in my mind, my body, uh, my whole experience today. And we try to not interpret or be judgy. We're just sort of noticing. We also notice everything around ourselves, right? Like I'm in my yard at my sit spot, and I'm noticing kids down the street that are playing and laughing. I'm noticing how the breeze moves, but then it goes still. I can hear a few cars. I can hear some kind of sander someone's using. I can hear bees buzzing and flies buzzing, a few birds, right? So just like noticing. And then I'd be like, okay, like what would need to go into my map? If I was going to make a map, what needs to be in it? And you just sort of gently start taking stock and depending on how you like to work, maybe you make a little list. Maybe you just start drawing right away, right? Just sketching. And again, it's for you only. So when I did mine, I really focused on the trees, and there's some birds and creatures noted. This is of my yard. And I did it over time. I didn't just kind of sit down and do it in an hour. And it was really that exploration of little by little over about a month. I just started filling things in. And then what gets really fun is kind of revisiting it over seasons. And so this is one way where we start to kind of decenter our fixation on the human world and the mapping that we might just know through our phones, which I do too, of course, we have to, and to this other kind of mapping our terrain of nature connection, of our own um, way that as nature, we are in relationship with the rest of nature. And so making your map of that is a process to be not just thinking about all that, but experiencing it as part of that reconnection practice with nature. So have some fun with it and some lightness of heart and some discovery and see what happens. Let me know how it goes. Bye.